Welcome back to yet another episode of The Inverted Microphone. It is another jam-packed episode for you guys today. Why? Because it's the month of January, which means every competition is going on, which means there are managers from around the world on the hot seat, which we'll get into. Two quite noteworthy managers at Big Six clubs who have had various levels of success in their tenures, then get into some transfer rumors, especially with the blockbuster news of Saudi Arabia pursuing numerous star players from the Premier League and elsewhere in Europe. Then preview one of the biggest matches of the weekend in the Premier League, Arsenal versus Manchester United. And finally, to wrap things up, we will bring you guys another 11, this time going over our favorite FIFA songs, which means I will be just showing you guys the FIFA 14 playlist. But I'm Rees Goodall. I'm joined by the great Joa'o Lara Jr., who comes from an igloo in Antarctica, it looks like, with his big parka coat on. Joa'o Lara Jr., how are we doing on this lovely, lovely Friday?
What's going on, guys? Always happy to be here, obviously. A little bit chilly today. It's always chilly in the mornings for some reason here. But, I mean, overall, just, again, enjoying football, enjoying what it is right now. Champions League, in my opinion, this week was pretty good. There were some pretty good matches, and just happy to be here with you guys once again.
Absolutely. And Joao, you might be the king of transitions with the mention of the Champions League, because we are going to talk about one of the teams that lost in the Champions League, potentially one of the biggest Champions League upsets ever, Manchester City falling 3-1 on the road at Bodo Glimt. An embarrassing performance where they were down 3-0. They did pull a goal back, but not before Rodri was sent off. All in all, just a poor performance, but it highlights some very poor performances that have been seen from Manchester City over the last month or so. They only have 2 wins in their last 7 games in all competitions. Those 2 wins are a 10-1 drubbing of Exeter City in the FA Cup, and then a first leg victory over Newcastle United away 2-0, but they still have the chance to lose the tie. In the Premier League, though, they are winless in the last 4 Premier League games. One of those winless matches was a 2-0 loss against Manchester United, their biggest rivals. I'm not saying by any means that Pep Guardiola is on the hot seat, but our good friend of the program and noted Manchester City fan, Luke Lendler, said Pep Guardiola needs to go. So take that how you want it, Joao, but what do you think's been going wrong over Manchester City over this stretch, especially within that match against Manchester United, where they were dominated not just for 10 or 15 minutes, really for the whole 90?
You know, I think that the issue right now with this Manchester City squad, they can't find their continuity. I think that they're really trying to force too much, and Bodo Glimt has been a ghost. I mean, a ghost of the past for both Manchester sides. Obviously, they had a good result against Manchester United in the Europa League a couple years ago as well. But it's just, there's so many factors going on, and I think that the injuries aren't helping as well. Obviously, you have Ruben Diaz out. Obviously, you have these big names out, and it's not going to continue getting any easier for this Manchester City squad.
Opening up the injury tab of this Manchester City squad at the moment is quite concerning, quite ugly. Ruben Diaz, who you mentioned, John Stones is out as well, Josko Vardiol. Those are 3 center backs there alone. The addition of Mark Gay will certainly help alleviate some of the concerns there. But Mateo Kovacic, Savinho, Oscar Bob has missed time, although he looks to be out the door this transfer window. Nico Gonzalez hasn't been able to stay fit. It's really been a nightmare in that scenario for Manchester City, where they haven't been able to stay fit. But you look back to last season, Manchester City had an even worse run of form in that season. That season obviously ended without a trophy. They lost the FA Cup final to Crystal Palace, finished 3rd in the Premier League. It was quite disappointing from their standards. If Manchester City fails to win a trophy this season, they are still in the Carabao Cup in the semifinal. They are in the Premier League title race in second place. They're likely to advance to the Champions League knockouts, albeit they're only in 11th place, so 3 spots away from the automatic top 8 spots that you don't have to play in the playoff. Do you think that Pep Guardiola would be on his way out?
I think it's more on Pep Guardiola himself if he's on his way out. To be honest, you have to sort of measure these expectations. You sort of have to measure, yes, you've spent a lot of money on these players in Mark Gahey and obviously as one as an Antoine Semenyo, but there's just, I think it's more on Pep. I don't think the board is too concerned right now as well, just because you've had good runs of form. You've had these championships won. You've had so much so much on behalf of Pep Guardiola that I think it's more if Pep wants to find a new avenue or if Pep wants to do something different. I think it's more on him if he wants to stay or not in the club.
Yeah, and a manager with his track record would certainly be allowed the grace to figure out some of these problems, whether that's with additional cash being put into the club or just try to figure things out the way they are. Looking at his track record, 6-time Premier League winner, 2-time FA Cup, 4 Carabao Cups, 3 Community Shields for what that's worth, a Champions League, a UEFA Super Cup, and a Club World Cup, albeit, again, in the original format. So Pep is going to have time to continue to solve these problems. However, I do think that if they end up trophyless, that you would have to start to look in a different direction. Now, I'm not saying you would sack him the second the season is over, but if the results are continuing to go down this incorrect path, this wrong path for Manchester City next season, I think he would enter the season with expectations that he needs to get to a hot start and he needs to win a trophy this season, or next season would be his last.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, I think that once again, with the amount of success he's had, you can't determine this season because there's so many other factors, so many external factors. If Pep were managing a bad ball, or if he were doing a bad job with what he's doing, I mean, I'd say, okay, maybe start considering it. But yeah, I totally agree that next season could be his last season if stuff continues this way. I mean, a club that has grown to the size of Manchester City in terms of competitiveness, I think that they deserve to be at the helm, and they have all of the pieces to stay at the helm.
Absolutely, absolutely. And really one of the things to go on to that is that Pep Guardiola changed the expectations for this club. So again, that gives him an extra step of grace, an extra layer of grace from the board, because obviously the investment was there before Pep Guardiola. Obviously they were starting to win trophies, but Pep Guardiola came in and changed the way people think about Manchester City as they became this just dominant wrecking ball, match after match, season after season, decade after decade almost. So again, he's going to get time, and the Joa'o Lara Jr. quote will continue to ring true. We will have to wait and see. But one of the options that have been touted as potentially replacing Pep Guardiola, and this was before he became a free agent, was Enzo Maresca. Maresca has been a Pep understudy. He worked for Manchester City in the 2022-23 season when they won the Premier League and the Champions League. Quite successful in that season. He then left to manage Leicester City before going to Chelsea. They do have very, very similar styles of play with their tactics, and that kind of makes sense given the fact that you would bring on somebody that would be similar to be an assistant coach, assistant manager. I do think that if Enzo Maresca would be the guy for Manchester City, he's way more authoritarian than Pep Guardiola, and we really saw that with how things ended with Chelsea, the way he wanted full control of the board. And that doesn't mean that Pep Guardiola is this laissez-faire manager that is just going to let his players let the board walk all over him, but he still is, will allow it to an extent. I think Enzo Maresca could be a bit of a failure, or a bit of a just wrong idea, or wrong step for Manchester City if that's who they target in the post-Pep era.
I totally like it as well. I mean, here's the thing. A club like Manchester City is a lot more I want to say liberal in letting their managers do their work and sort of hands off. You got this. Your signings are your signings, and we're gonna let you do your work. And I think that's a system that Enzo Maresca can definitely thrive in. He brings in his own pieces. He's able to manage these players as well. And you bring up a phenomenal point about Pep Guardiola as well. Manchester City a couple years back, he had the situation with Joao Cancelo, where Joao Cancelo's like, "Hey, I don't want to be here," and Pep's like, "Okay, you can go ahead and go. Any player that doesn't want to be here is welcome to leave." That's I think that's so great from Pep. I think he's very adaptable as a coach. I think that's something that you need. And honestly, I'm very intrigued to see the direction that he goes if he ends up leaving Manchester City. But honestly, Enzo Maresca, I think it's a match made in heaven for Man City. I think that's your most ideal candidate if you want someone at the helm.
I do agree. I also think that when Pep Guardiola leaves Manchester City, I really struggle to see him taking another job. And I know that sounds crazy to say, he's only 55, and we're talking about him leaving. Realistically, if all things go well for a Manchester City perspective, probably 5 more years he has left there. If all things go wrong, a year from now we're having a different discussion. And I don't know where he would go. I mean, he's managed 4 years at Barcelona. He's managed 3 years at Bayern Munich. Very successful at both those clubs, and is about to be a decade in charge of Manchester City. Maybe he takes up a team in Italy. Maybe he goes back to Dorados where he played 10 games. Joao, would you enjoy seeing Pep Guardiola manage the Liga de Expansión side, Dorados de Sinaloa?
Honestly, with Pro Rel coming back, that's our best shot at going back to Liga MX. So bring it on, Pep. You said you wanted to go back someday. Fulfill your wishes and fulfill your word for the people. Come on now, let's get it going.
That would be absolutely electric. I'm looking at Dorados' Wikipedia page right now. Notable players, of course, Pep Guardiola is there. He's right above Joe Corona, U.S. men's national team legend, San Diego Loyal legend, unfortunately. But we'll only focus on the USMNT for now. Moving on to another team that is having questions about their manager, Tottenham Hotspur. It feels like a revolving door of every 6 months there's going to be concerns. Last season, winning the Europa League with Ange Postecoglou, but they were awful last season. They finished 17th in the Premier League. For a Big Six club, that is quite intolerable. That is quite poor and is unacceptable. There are not enough adjectives in the world to describe that. This season, they brought in Thomas Frank from Brentford. Brentford, who are having an incredible season, currently could sit 7th in the Premier League. Meanwhile, Tottenham are 14th. They 7 wins, 6 draws, 9 losses. They're out of both cups, FA Cup and Carabao Cup, that is. No wins in the last 4 Premier League matches, 3 losses, one of which was to West Ham, who have been absolutely dreadful this season. Excuse me. Yet somehow they're 5th in the Champions League, which I think shows the difference, the trench difference. There's not a big enough word to describe the difference between the Premier League and the rest of Europe. They do have a pivotal match this weekend against Burnley. It is in Burnley, which can make it a little bit difficult. And with rumors kind of circulating around that if they drop points in this game, if they lose this game, certainly to 19th placed Burnley, Thomas Frank would be out the door. Joao, overall, what are your thoughts on how Thomas Frank has handled his time with Tottenham? I don't want to talk about his cup at the Bournemouth game with the Arsenal logo on it, but they obviously have had their fair share of injuries. It's honestly a little bit ridiculous to see how many guys they have out injured. I'll get into a few of them now, and I'll skip probably twice as many. Richarlison's out until March. Kulusevski's been out for a while. Mohamed Kudus is expected to miss extended time. Lucas Bergvall is out until April. James Maddison isn't expected to play until May. Bentancur until April. Ben Davies, April. These are lengthy injuries that have led to Tottenham's struggles this season. Excuse me. But with that in mind, with how the results have gone, what are your thoughts on Tottenham? But more importantly, Thomas Frank.
Now look, I going down that list, just sort of hearing that list, you have to recognize you are hearing a substantial amount of first team players. You're hearing a substantial amount of maybe even starting players on the Tottenham squad. Here's the thing. It's very difficult to judge a manager when you have injuries like this. But honestly, many clubs in the Premier League have to fire their physiotherapists and start hiring new ones because it is egregious the amount of players that are injured, the amount of players that are out with a knock. In the Champions League, you're doing well. Obviously, there's a difference in quality, but I mean, you can also, I think, judge a team better. Because I think teams are much more adaptable in the Premier League. I think they're always changing in the Premier League. It's very difficult for the Tottenham squad because they don't have that firepower. Obviously, you have players like Richarlison now. Looking at their last lineup against West Ham when they end up losing 2-1, it's three players, practically all four, who don't have that Premier League experience, who are barely in their first or second season in the Premier League. It's very difficult to adapt, and this team just struggles so much. As soon as they get the ball, they don't know what to do. Everyone's trying to make a run. Xavi Simons is trying to be Superman. That's not possible, and it's just, there's so many things wrong with this Tottenham squad, but I don't think it's Frank's fault. Yes, Frank hasn't been the best manager, and yes, Frank has his difficulties, but you have practically your starting midfield and Mohamed Kudus and Rodrigo Bentancur and then James Maddison out. You can't expect that much from him because you don't have the options right now to say, yeah, we should totally be top 5, top 6 in the Premier League, because in my opinion, it isn't so.
I agree to an extent. I certainly agree with the physiotherapist point. It makes me wonder, I'm sure you've seen in the NFL, San Francisco 49ers, they have injuries left, right, and center. Their stadium's right next to a power plant, so people are wondering if that has a tie. I certainly think there might be something going on in the Premier League as well. But back to Tottenham. I think, though, the issue that Tottenham have had this season is the amount of points they've dropped to bad sides in bad positions, right? The Bournemouth game was a game against a side close to you in the table, and they just never really got out of second gear in that match. The West Ham loss is unacceptable. West Ham is not a team that you should be losing to, in 2026. Weird saying 2026 there. I almost said 2025. You let Callum Wilson score a 93rd minute winner in 2026. These are things that just cannot happen. And I think to an extent, Thomas Frank has lost the dressing room. I understand that these injuries have happened, but it's just everything is going wrong. There's nothing they can do to steer it in the right direction. And because of that, I think you have to abandon the ship. And I think Thomas Frank's days at Tottenham are ultimately numbered.
I totally agree there, and I totally agree in terms of the locker room. I think that as a manager, you have to sort of do a better job in order to maintain a locker room. It's just, if you're going solely based off of performances, if you're going solely based off of the way that team is played, yes, it is partially his fault because obviously he's the one putting the players out there, but also look at the selection he has. But I think team morale, and I think that unity is a big thing in this modern day and game. So I mean, I totally agree with you in that facet and sense. It's just, I think this Tottenham squad, they're very similar to Manchester United last year. It's just a very inconsistent team. It's a team that can go ahead, compete against a big dog, and fall against a relegation side. It's very odd what we're seeing out of Tottenham this season.
Absolutely, and it makes me, or it brings me to my next point. Is this a culture problem with Tottenham? Daniel Levy's not there anymore. He departed in September, but was in charge of the Thomas Frank appointment, in charge of that summer transfer window. But how many times did we talk about over summer where their transfer approach just really was not optimal. It's not the guys that you want to see being brought in to a Premier League side, a Big Six side, a side that is playing Champions League football. It was just not good enough. They've brought in Conor Gallagher in January, who I've spoke about quite a bit on how I don't think he's great. He can do a job. He'll be good for what Tottenham is now, but I don't think he'll be good for what Tottenham wants to be. Randall Kolomuani, who has scored twice in 23 matches. Kevin Danso for $29 million, who has been meh. Matisse Tell, they converted the loan option to a buy. He's scored 3 times in 20 matches. Xavi Simons has not been great by what we've seen from him. He has created a good number of chances, but the rest of the team just hasn't been able to convert them. He's also only scored twice in 26 matches. And everything about this feels very Tottenham. You know what I mean? Very Spursy, where all of these things are going wrong, but they also can't get out of their own way. And having a transfer window like that, when you have just won the Europa League, you're about to play Champions League football. Obviously, your success in the league was bad, 17th place. But you don't spend that much money to finish 14th place. They're in 14th right now. You don't finish that, or you don't spend that much money to finish 11th place. You spend that much money to finish top 6, top 4, maybe 8, and even challenge for a title. Now, obviously, Tottenham, not known for their title winning, haven't won one since the 60s. 1961, that's not even a real year. That is centuries ago. The dinosaurs were playing up top during that season for Tottenham. But all things considered, when everything goes wrong, it's a Tottenham thing. It's really never been seen at another club to me.
No, not at all. And I just, talking about the transfer window, I guess it feels like they had somebody on career mode. It feels like they had somebody just on Football Manager, just like, this guy got it. This guy, he's young. He seems good. Let's get him. That's not the approach you want to have if you're a Premier League side. You've seen this with Manchester United in the past. Obviously, you know, they were buying big name players or very promising players that just wouldn't end up panning out. You're splashing cash and you're not getting the results. You need prem-proven players. You've seen it time and time again, but obviously it's very difficult to get these prem-proven players when you're competing against a Chelsea, a Manchester United, a Liverpool, a Arsenal, a Manchester City, even a Newcastle United, because they see those names and are like, well, do I wanna go to Manchester? Do I wanna go to Tottenham? And what happens? They usually end up selecting the bigger sides in the equation. I mean, it's just quite simple. So either you have to really ramp up your operations, whether it's in the academy, and try to do something from the bottom up. If not, you have to start looking at players who aren't that big of a name in the Premier League and really hope they develop, which is still risky business if you're Tottenham.
Exactly. And I honestly think that there's almost no way out of it for Tottenham. I really hate to say that, but do I? No, I don't.
Do you? No.
I don't. But they've also spent £1 billion on a state-of-the-art stadium, one of the best stadiums in the world that hosts event after event after event. So much so that when the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the stadium they play in, very, very aptly named, I wonder how long it took them to come up with that, posted their year-end recap. It featured tons of different concerts, the NFL games that have been there, but no Tottenham matches. They skipped the main tenant of the stadium, but they had all these concerts, they had all these NFL games, but no Tottenham, which I think tells all there. Moving on to some interesting news, touch on it somewhat briefly. The Saudi Pro League, Joao's favorite league in the entire world. He tunes in every single Saturday and Sunday, every day. Honestly, when I see him, he's watching highlights of Al Ittihad versus Al Hilal. He loves it. They are rumored to spend a ton of money, and the league is because a lot of the clubs are owned by the Public Investment Fund, which, to basically sum it up, is the Saudi government. But they are rumored to be signing quote unquote 50 peak age foreign signings. Some of the names that have been mentioned: Mo Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Vinicius Jr., Robert Lewandowski, Gabriel Martinelli's been thrown in that list as well. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo's time is numbered playing football professionally. Realistically, he retires the second he hits 1,000 goals, no matter where it is. But this isn't the first time that Saudi have tried to kind of raid Europe for some of these stars. They did it a couple years ago, bringing in N'Golo Kante, Karim Benzema, just to name a few of the players that made the jump to Saudi Arabia. Joao, overall, what are your thoughts on players making the jump to Saudi Arabia? Do you support them getting the payday, and do you care?
I think that okay, it's not to the biggest of my concern. I feel like if you're a player who's done quite or who has been quite successful, or who had a great tenured career in Europe, go ahead, chase the bag, feed your family, form that generational wealth that we all seek in life. But if you're a youngster, please stay in your league. Please develop. Please have a fruitful career, and don't go waste it in Saudi Arabia just yet, just because you're trying to chase the Benjamins. They'll come eventually, because Saudi is producing oil each and every day. So 10 years along the line, when you've had a good career, you will be okay, and you will still get that offer from Saudi. I'm pretty sure it'll be there.
Well, Joao, I hate to tell you, oil is a finite, non-renewable resource. So one day, the Saudi Arabia will run out of oil. Now,
They will keep finding oil somewhere. They will find a way to produce oil. I just know it.
I don't know, Joao. I don't know. Oil takes like 1,000,000 years to form. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Well, look, Reese,
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. We'll come back in 1,000,000 years to see how Saudi Arabia's oil reserves look like.
This is a footy podcast, not an ecological podcast, so therefore, let's move on to what we were talking about. What are your opinions and what are your thoughts in the Saudi Pro League? Do you want these players to leave as well? Do you want them to chase the bag? What's on your mind in this current context?
I think I agree with you. For the Mo Salahs of the world, the Casemiros of the world, who are beyond their prime and are not quote-unquote peak age foreign stars like the Saudi Pro League has allegedly called them. Fine, go ahead, get the money, get the payday. You only have so much money left to earn playing football, so
YOLO.
I don't blame them. Exactly. However, Gabriel Martinelli, I'm just using it as an example because he was in this list. Gabriel Martinelli is 24 years old. For Gabriel Martinelli to go to Saudi Arabia, I don't care how much money he is making. Absolutely not. I am so far against that. I think the younger players doing it is utter woke nonsense. Utter woke nonsense is too kind to describe it. But again, on the other side of the equation, you only get so many paydays, and I think some of these guys kind of understand that. You know, you're trying to set your family up for life, get that generational wealth, and when you're getting offered 3 times your salary, you can't blame them. But this topic kind of depresses me, all in all. So let's move on to the biggest match of the weekend. Joao's favorite game. He's been looking forward to it. He's also been having nightmares about it. Sunday, January 25th, 2026. At the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal play host to Manchester United. Is the second meeting this season between these two clubs. The first meeting ended 1-0 with a Calafiori goal off a set piece. Arsenal are looking to get back in the win column after drawing their last 2 Premier League matches by quite an entertaining scoreline of 0-0. However, Manchester United looking to get their first Premier League win under Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick, though this isn't his first time managing a match against Arsenal, he did manage Manchester United previously. December 2nd, 2021, 3-2 win at home for Manchester United. I was looking at that game because I wanted to see, the differences in the squad since then. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a brace in that match for Manchester United. Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford were their 2 wingers. Jesse Lingard Anthony Martial and Donny van de Beek all came on as substitutes for Man United. The goal scorers for Arsenal were Emil Smith-Rowe and Martin Odegaard. Some changes for them. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette both played in that match. So quite a lot of changes since Michael Carrick last won a Premier League match against Arsenal. But that's almost 4 years ago and a month since that match. Joa'o, what are your thoughts about this match? And what are your thoughts about who will come out on top?
Really, I just think this match it's always a difficult match. It's always a gritty match. It doesn't matter sort of the form that both teams are in. We're always in for a somewhat watchable match. Now, in terms of how this match is going to end out, I think it depends on many factors. I think that if Manchester United's back line can perform how they did against Manchester City, I think that you're able to stop those central threats. However, I am very concerned on that right-hand side, obviously, because you have Bukayo Saka. That means Patrick Dorgo is going to have to put in overtime and sort of work that wing as he can and try to help out Luke Shaw, because I think that Bukayo Saka just dominates Luke Shaw in many facets. And I'm also concerned about Diogo Dalot because he is a very inconsistent player. Now for Manchester United, if you can bolster those counterattacks and if you can hold your ground defensively, I think you have a fairly decent opportunity to go up and try to score. But at the same time, it's still very difficult because Arsenal has one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the Premier League. So honestly, I can see this game as a draw.
I could see it as a draw. I think people forget that in the previous meeting between these two sides, Manchester United was the better side for much of it, including the fact that they just created more chances. They had 22 total shots. Arsenal only had 9. Man United had 7 on target. Arsenal only had 3 in that match. But United weren't able to convert any of the chances. But it was a weird lineup. Mateus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo, Mason Mount, the front three. So it was one that was probably set up to fail. So I think my thoughts on this match are going to change like every few minutes. That's not even when the match starts. That's between now and kickoff. I think Arsenal's defense is absolutely elite. It's no way around it. They haven't lost a game in 11 matches, I believe. It's dating back to early December, late November. The midfield is obviously elite as well. My worries are in the front three in terms of Victor Gyökeres, Gabby Jesus. Neither of them have been that great this season. Kai Havertz has had another setback, it seems like, in his return to not just fitness, but also return to the pitch. All in all, you mentioned it. Bukayo Saka's out there. You've kind of lived in fear of Bukayo Saka quite a few times. You've brought it up quite a few times, how much of a quality player he is. He has been dealing with a little bit of a knock recently, but I do expect him to play. I think the way this match is going to go is that Arsenal's defense, who has found more chemistry over this stretch, even with some of the injuries, they still have kind of put things together. The midfield, Martin Zubimendi was thrown into the fire in that game. Now he's looking like one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I think because of that, Manchester United aren't going to be able to create too many chances. They're going to struggle, in my eyes, to do anything positive. And I think because of that, Manchester United's hopes are playing a quite defensive game and just trying to shut down Arsenal's front three, trying to shut down Arsenal's set pieces, trying to shut down, Arsenal's counterattacks when Declan Rice drives the ball forward. All these things are going to do harm to Manchester United. And I just don't know if Manchester United has the form, but also the quality to get a result in this game.
Well, I think you sort of have to recognize last week that's how this game started off for Manchester United against Manchester City. They held off set pieces, they held off corners, they held off that early free kick, and they ended up most of the opportunities in the beginning were off the counterattack, and that's whenever they started finding their footing in the middle, trying to play the ball, trying to go ahead and use those open spaces, exploit those spaces. But I totally agree with you. It's gonna be a very difficult match for this side. And it's going to take more than just Brandon Burmo, Mateus Cunha, and Bruno Fernandes to try to go out and win it. And it's just whenever you start adding more pieces up top, that's whenever you start exploiting yourself with more gaps open. And that's when there's more of the possibility for the opponent, in this case Arsenal, to go ahead, go on, and just try to go ahead and score.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Arsenal's back line, though, is extremely composed when it comes to these counter-attacking scenarios. William Saliba and Gabriel, I think they have a brain chip in them that just synchronizes them in these counter-attacking scenarios. There's been so many times this season, last season, these last few seasons when Arsenal have emerged as contenders where you're watching these teams counterattack. And Saliba and Gabriel are right next to each other, obviously with some distance, but they're in the same line, moving back, in the exact same speed, exact same step. When their left foot steps, the other's left foot steps. It's insane to watch. So Manchester United are going to have to be quite creative to find a goal. Excuse me. Score prediction, Joao.
Honestly, I can see this match going 1-1. I think that Arsenal can go ahead and find something early, and I think after many opportunities and many attempts at an opportunity, Manchester United find something late.
I think a draw isn't a terrible result to pick. However, Arsenal haven't lost at home to Man United in the Premier League, that is, since, this is actually longer than I thought it was. 2017. That's way longer than I thought it was. They've obviously lost quite a few times in the FA Cup. Jesse Lingard's made it his dance floor, and last season as well, losing on penalties. But all things considered, my score prediction is going to be 2-1. I think Arsenal has the quality enough to pull it out. Big Six games are always tight. There's always a higher level of intensity between the two teams because they know that it's effectively a rivalry game. This one especially so with the history in this fixture. And I think Arsenal's just their home field advantage is going to be able to be enough to push them forward. However, I would not be surprised if it's a draw. If Manchester United win, Michael Carrick gets a full-time contract and is the next permanent manager as Manchester United.
And also, whoever wins this next match as well goes ahead in the head-to-head. Currently, it's 14-9-14. So,
well, that's just actually in the last, 30 games.
Well, I don't care. Last 30 games. They go ahead. Last 31 matches. Who's up? Who's ahead? Let's continue.
The most cherry-picked stat I've ever heard in my life. That is horrible. Arsenal actually lead the all-time head-to-head dating back to 1894 when the two sides were known as Newton Heath and Woolwich Arsenal. They were in League Division 2. Arsenal have won 102 games against Manchester United. Manchester United have won 91 of the fixtures, 51 draws. So how about you do some research there, buddy?
Can you push in your glass and say, according to my calculations?
Well, yeah, according to my calculations, this would be the 103rd win against Manchester United for Arsenal. They went 7 years. Oh, wait, never mind. That's just because of World War I. I'm an idiot. Regardless, moving on. Joao, you like music, right?
I love music, yeah.
That's good. You like playing FIFA, right?
Yes. A lot.
Good. Well, FIFA, now known as EA Sports FC, it has been known for their soundtracks over the years. So Joao and I are going to do a draft, a best 11 out of FIFA songs. We won't be able to play it for you if you're listening on the podcast because YouTube and Spotify are notorious for copyright claims. So go to our TikTok in a week and a half's time, and you'll be able to listen to the tune while Joao dances. Isn't that right, Joao? You're gonna dance
Yeah.
for us. He's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
dance.
totally. I'm at the
Hey,
Jesse Lingard.
you danced in one of the TikToks I posted recently. You hit the Emmy
That
Martinez
little
shimmy.
shimmy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was beautiful. It was beautiful. Um, but all things considered, or not all things considered, that's not the right usage of that phrase whatsoever. But we've got the draft. Joao, since you're clearly freezing cold, I'll let you go first. I'll let you pick what song is best. This probably is your best. I don't know about you. I didn't really organize it into the positional 11 just because I don't know how on earth you can do that with songs. We did it with kits, which was a miracle. Songs, absolutely no chance. So, Joao, with the first overall pick in the FIFA song draft, the inverted microphone FIFA song draft, who do you have?
I have Blur. I have Song 2 by Blur. This came out in FIFA 98. It's one that goes, woohoo! I just, when I first got introduced to FIFA, it was off my dad's old crappy PC. And he showed me, he showed me this is what I played as a kid. And this song is just, the way it's upbeat, the rock, it has it all. And I think it's a phenomenal FIFA song.
That is a great, great pick there. It has been used in a million different video games over the years. Like I can picture it in some Maddens, and there's a reason for that. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal tune. With my first pick, I'm going to preface this with about 95% of my picks are going to be from FIFA 14, which has the best soundtrack out of any video game. But I'm also going to say your favorite FIFA songs are always going to be the songs from your first FIFA, which Joao proved with this one. But FIFA 14, I'm going Love Natural by the Crystal Fighters. Why? Because the song peak vibes, and anytime I hear it, I think about that one video where all the different Premier League players are hitting their celebrations. Drogba, strumming the corner flag as a guitar. All these different ones. And this song's playing in the background. Peak vibes. There's nothing better than coming out of a career mode match where you've won. You might have upset a team. You might have just thrashed somebody. And then hearing Love Natural. It's peak vibes.
Well, look, I love that selection. Next pick of mine also comes from FIFA 14. Now, imagine you're an Ultimate Team. You've just finished thrashing someone, and then you hear "Alive" by Empire of the Sun. Peak,
Banger.
peak, and during the summer as well. Like you've woken up late, you've played all morning. "Alive" comes on. Just this feeling, it takes me back, and I just feel I'm levitating exactly.
That is absolutely a banger. That is, oh man, I can't get the grin off my face. That is one of the best, just peak songs in FIFA. As I said before, FIFA 14, best soundtrack out of any video game ever. When I leave this podcast, I'm going to edit these videos. I'm literally just going to play the FIFA 14 soundtrack because there's banger after banger after banger. And to follow that up, I got to go Love Me Again by John Newman. FIFA 14. Played it at the World Cup. They brought it back on multiple different FIFAs. Oh man. I need to love somebody again because that song is just peak. That's what a FIFA song's about.
Yeah, I had this one. This was gonna be my fourth selection. Love Me Again, just absolutely phenomenal. I've revealed it, but at the same time, it's just so good. For my next pick, I think this is classic. This is from a little bit newer. It's FIFA 16, Soy Yo by Bombasterio. I think it's a good one as well. You finish a match, Soy Yo. I think it's a good one, honest.
Oh, okay. I just played it. I looked it up because I couldn't remember what song that was. Yes, absolutely. That is not one I had on my list, but absolutely a good pick by you, Joao. moving on. I am staying in FIFA 14 because why not? Hit It by American Authors. Absolutely, just the best FIFA songs were when they had these just artists you've never heard of, these indie artists. Now, I don't know if American Authors are big or not, so I apologize. But this one, again, I'm picturing, playing career mode. I've just won a match with Arsenal, Santi Cazorla, dribbling through everybody, and then coming out to this. Chef's kiss. Beautiful.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. I think that this FIFA 14. I think you could put 10 songs from the FIFA 14 track and or playlist, and I wouldn't be angry at all, honestly. Next pick, I have had to go with "Jerk It Out" by Caesars. Originally appeared in FIFA 04. I think it did an appearance once again in one of the newer FIFAs. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think this is a clear selection in this draft.
That is a good selection. That is a very FIFA song. Good vibes. Can't hate too much. I'm not going to continue the FIFA 22 train. FIFA 14 train. I spoiled which FIFA this next pick is from. The Mission by Bakar, FIFA 22. FIFA 22, underrated soundtrack. Had some bangers for a newer FIFA. Joao, I can tell you're looking it up right now because you don't remember it. But I absolutely love this song. I don't know why, but I felt like this song in another one that I might pick, so I won't reveal it until later, played every single time I played the game. I think I heard maybe 10 songs on that game, but this one, absolute banger. In my playlist to this day. So shout out you, FIFA.
Yeah, honestly, I just found it again. I remember now, which is absolutely phenomenal. My next pick, I've gone for "Feet Don't Fail Me Now" by Joy Crooks, FIFA 22. It's just I think it's iconic with the sport. I love seeing edits with it as well. And just again, I think it has everything you want, right? You're ramping up. You're gonna go into a match. FIFA 22 was very prominent with my friends and I playing pro clubs. So "Feet Don't Fail Me Now" before a pro clubs match gets me going. Just makes me want to sell even harder to make my teammates even more angrier after I miss a one-on-one against a keeper.
Absolutely, Joe. I can picture you selling in pro clubs. I've never actually played pro clubs with you, but I can just tell you're a striker, missing chance after chance after chance after chance, while I do all the hard work creating the chances. So these are heinous allegations I'm throwing against you, but again, I believe them. I've picked 3 songs from FIFA 14. What's one more? "Dreaming" by Small Pools. This is another one. It matches the vibes of the previous 3 I've had. It is so good. I just want to listen to the song on a repeat. I want to listen to the song when I've scored a banger. This is peak.
You see, I know I shouldn't have gone for "Love Me Again" and "Dreaming" because both of these were on my list. But it's okay. Because for my next pick, I'm going to go with "Busy Earning" by Jungle, FIFA 15.
Such a banger. I had that on my list. That is such a banger.
The Premier League used it for 2 years. It was on FIFA 15. Just, so peak. Honestly, just, again, I think it has all the qualities of a FIFA song. You can't go wrong with it.
Absolutely. Oh, man, I'm devastated you took that one from me. This one, again, I picked 4 songs from FIFA 14. What's one more? Let's make it 5. "Come Alive" by Family Band. I think's how you say it. FMLY BND, so I'm assuming. Absolute banger. I think all 4 songs from FIFA 14 have the exact same, or all 5 I picked have the exact same vibe. FIFA 14 might be the best soundtrack in terms of curating one singular vibe and sticking to it the whole time. I've already called it the best soundtrack, but the fact that all the songs are so similar, I love it.
Yeah, I love the whole vibe FIFA 14 had. And even then, I feel like this is very nostalgic, right? Because FIFA 14 was the FIFA that I finally started getting decent at the game. Because I spent all of FIFA 11, 12, and 13 getting absolutely dominated by my one of my cousins who listens to the show. Shout out to Robert. And I've actually gone for a song from FIFA 13. I've gone for "On Top of the World" by Imagine Dragons.
Ooh, can't hate, can't hate. FIFA 13. It wasn't the first FIFA I played, but I remember losing a lot in that FIFA. So I think FIFA 14 might have been my first one where I was actually good too. I'm gonna actually tell you a little memory I have from not FIFA 14, FIFA 14 World Cup Edition. Played it with my neighbor, right? I was USA, she was England, because both of us actually had English dads, funny enough. And we were trying to go to penalties, right? Because we wanted to play penalty mode, but you couldn't auto select penalties, right? So we were just taking long shots from beyond the halfway line, right? 91st minute, Josie Altidore. Beyond the halfway line. Long shot over Joe Hart. Best moment of my life. I'm so serious. When I have a wife, when I have kids, that will come second to seeing Josie Altidore score a halfway goal in FIFA 14 World Cup. Absolutely peak of my life there. What was that?
That's phenomenal. That's beautiful.
I can tell you the weather that day. It was just peak, and I just remember it vividly. Moving on, not a FIFA 14 song, but a FIFA 15 song, "When the Day Comes" by Nico and Vinz. Just one of those songs where, again, the vibes. Yes,
I know what
yes,
you're gonna say.
yes. It took you a minute. It took you a minute.
I just
but
heard
once
Nico
you
and
got
Vince,
there,
and I was like, I know.
yes. It's a banger. It's a banger. Joe, I've never seen Joa'o so happy in his life than when he realized what song it was.
No, because here's the thing. That was like one of the first years we were able to have aux in the car, and I had this song on all the time to soccer practice, to my little sister's speech therapy at USC. Everywhere. It was just, this song was on, and my mom was like, "Why do you like this song so much?" And it's just like, I'd go home and be on FIFA. She's like, "You're always listening to the song, Archer," and I'm like, "Yes." It was one of the first songs that I could truly listen to in English and finally understand, because my whole life until that point, it was always songs in Spanish. I'd never had that experience.
It is beautiful.
Pick.
That is
Beautiful
beautiful.
pool. Oh my god. Honestly, my day has been made with that. Thank you so much for the memories.
You're welcome, Joa'o.
I know it's something so hilarious to sort of brighten up over, but I'm gonna continue on. What number pick are we at, by the way?
I've done 7, and you went first, so I think this is 8.
Okay, so with my 8th pick, this is in my opinion, it's a great song overall, and it has a great meaning for it as well. FIFA 19. I want to say one of the FIFAs I played the most, FIFA 19, 20, 21, definitely. But Feels Like Summer, Childish Gambino, can never go wrong with it. They put it in FIFA. I was absolutely elated. Go back into the menu. Yep, exactly. You're squaring your head, even if you got absolutely thrashed on online friendlies. It doesn't matter. You'll calm down after that, and you'll hopefully want to break your controller less.
Oh, FIFA 19. I have one on my short list, so I might go down to it later. But for my 8th pick, found what I've been looking for, Tom Grennan on FIFA 14. Because why not? FIFA 14, banger after banger after banger after banger. I've picked 6 songs now from FIFA 14. I've got like 3 more I could still pick. This is the best soundtrack of all time. I'm never going to let that go.
I had it. That was my next pick. You took it out of you. That makes me so mad, because I was like, all right, I'm gonna save this for close to last. Okay. For my ninth pick, FIFA 16, I've had to go to ID by, I think it's Kigo. He's Norwegian. Put it on.
I'm going to. I think you could tell I didn't recognize the name.
You're a little puzzled. One of my favorite ones from FIFA 16.
Wait, what's it called? Sorry.
It's called ID. ID by Kigo. Kygo.
All right.
I want to see the live. I want to see the live reaction here.
Sorry. It's taking a second.
No, you're all good. I know the Wi-Fi can be a little spotty sometimes.
Oh, okay, I do recognize it. Yeah. Good pick. Might be a little too high for me, but hey, you know why it's a little too high for me?
Why?
We're throwing it back to FIFA 12. FIFA 12. Can you believe that? Call it what you want, Foster the People. Banger of a tune. Absolute banger of a tune. I don't remember much of FIFA 12, but I remember Call It What You Want and instantly being obsessed with this song. And then, like, when you get older and you kind of forget those memories of when you're that young, you remember the song, but you don't know anything about it. And then when I rediscovered it, years later, joy was brought back to my heart.
And honestly, it's do you know that scene in Ratatouille, right? Whenever the critic takes a bite into the ratatouille and he's just taken back to when he's a kid. A lot of these songs are like that. A lot of these songs are that way. Great pick. Great selection.
Takes me back to being sat down in a beanbag playing FIFA. Just no worries in the world.
If not crisscross applesauce,
Exactly.
just on the floor in front of the TV, mom yelling at me, "You gotta step back from the TV. You're gonna hurt your eyes even more." Yep, I feel you there. For my last and final pick,
It's actually not. This is pick 10.
This is pick. Yeah, we were doing 10, no?
We're doing 11. Football.
We're doing 11. So for not my last and final pick, I've gone for Comeback Kid by Kasabian, FIFA 17. They use this song for the journey. I love the journey. I love the concept of the journey. I'm mad that they didn't continue the journey. Because honestly, it could have been such a great concept. It could have been such a great storyline. But I've had to go for this song for my 10th selection.
Here's what I'll say about the journey. Whatever the last year was, that was by far and away the worst year. Like when you were playing as Alex Hunter, you're playing as, I think it was his sister. It was bad. But the first couple years of it, peak. I would like to them to do something similar, but we're asking FIFA to do something creative. So, hashtag that won't happen. Moving on. I got another FIFA 22 song. Landline by Binky. I love this song so much. Again, just like The Mission, it's still in the rotation to this day. FIFA 22, sneaky soundtrack.
Yeah, FIFA 22 definitely has one of the better soundtracks. That's the year that I really got into Ultimate Team. I not lost, but I spent a little too much time on Foot Champs that year. May have broke a controller or two. That was the first FIFA that I actually did so. But yeah, FIFA 22 definitely has a good soundtrack. For my last and final pick, 11th pick, I've gone with "Live in the Moment" by Portugal the Man, FIFA 18.
Oh, I was just gonna pick that one. That was literally gonna be my last pick. Oh, that was such a good one. Such a banger.
My God.
Such a banger.
The song comes on at the beginning when you're about to hop on, and you know you're in for a good session. Whether it's career mode or Ultimate Team, if you were a sweat training center.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm thinking playing training center, using like Messi, Ronaldo, whoever, just dribbling around, playing against like the worst keeper you can find in the game, scoring bangers, and listening to this song.
What FIFA was it that they had the little house behind the? it was like this little like house with like the panels from a football in the background. Do you know which one it was?
Oh, I'm trying to think
It,
because FIFA 18's when they started to get lazy. Because 18 they just put you, or 17 I think they put you in a stadium. 15. I'm actually gonna look this up now.
because I was wondering because training center. I used to love that. I used to love training center. You have it was a little
FIFA
more
15.
creative.
It was
a little
FIFA
more.
15.
Yeah, definitely one of the better ones behind.
I
Definitely
think
one of the better ones behind 14.
yes, I think 14 is the best because you got that just futuristic ground. But 15, a good shout. I just miss those old practice arenas because now it's just and when you would play a match and you before it would load in fully before we had these fancy high tech consoles that load in instantly, you'd dribble around in the practice arena and then right
Yes.
before it went to the game, you'd see the practice arena change to the proper stadium. Peak. To round things out though, the last pick of the Rees Goodall and Joa'o Lara Jr. inverted microphone FIFA soundtrack draft. I have picked 6 songs from FIFA 14.
What 7?
What's 7? Magic Olympic Airs to round things out. Absolute banger. Joao, we're not doing 12. We could do 15. We could do 20. We could sit here all day naming FIFA songs. But this was fun. This was a great reminiscing session of these FIFA songs. Who do you think won, Joao? Who do you think won?
I just think with the substantial amount of FIFA 14 songs, and especially the fact that you stole like 3 of them from me right before I was gonna pick them as well, you have to have taken it. I had overall my composition was it was fairly consistent, but then I'd go for some personal favorites, and it sort of harms the list, right? But it's my list. It's mine. I appreciate it. Yours, I feel like everyone can get behind each and every song because they just slap. They just slap. They're just there. Reese, clip this. Guys, let us know what your favorite FIFA songs are. If you want to make your own 11, put it in the comment section, and we will see it and try to respond as well.
Yeah, if you think we have the worst music taste in the world, which is probably likely knowing our TikTok comments, let us know. Don't be afraid to. You probably aren't afraid to let us know your true thoughts. But
Little keyboard warriors.
yeah, we have a lot of keyboard warriors. It's quite concerning. They don't ever actually tune into the podcast, though. It's quite frustrating. But that's going to round it out for yet another episode of The Inverted Microphone. Great episode. A lot to talk about. A lot to clip. So going to be a busy boy this afternoon. But make sure to follow Joa'o Lara Jr. where?
At Joa'o Lara Jr. on X. I did just end up switching it. And VJL Football on the TikTok.
Make sure to follow me at Rees Goodall on X. Glad to see you. You matched me in the full name there. I made that change recently. At ReesFC on TikTok. And more importantly, follow the Inverted Microphone on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, and soon to come Twitter. When I get around to that, we'll have a Twitter. Not yet. But it's a beautiful game, but it's a way more beautiful game when you spend your Friday morning thinking about old FIFA songs. Goodbye.